Yes, people, what's good? We're back again, back with another show, back with Lee Judges and myself, doing a little bit of a Q&A with you because we want to find out what you guys are thinking, because yesterday there was drama. England, we are going to touch on. Gareth Southgate, we are definitely going to touch on. And we will definitely touch on a few of the Euro standouts, some of the draws that are going to be coming up, one in which I'm going to be absolutely buzzing to watch. Of course, Spain versus Germany, the two best teams in the competition, in my opinion, so far, will have to face each other. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk a little bit about Arsenal's busy transfer window. Now, obviously, we are being facetious. There's not really a busy transfer window for anyone at the moment because the Euros and the Copa America, I don't really see until that goes or disappears or finishes that it will be too busy. But we are going to talk about what we expect to see from Arsenal, from Edu and Arteta, who I believe behind the scenes will be very busy. But first of all, it feels like forever, my friend. How are you, Lee?
Well, yeah, I'm all good. Busy weekend. It was like, well, it's my mum's birthday this week, but she had a party and a barbecue yesterday, so it was busy around here. And do you know what? That was the thing that I was really looking forward to yesterday. I got my brother over from Thailand. My nephew was staying for the weekend as well. Of course, they're both Spurs fans, but it was like, right, we're going to watch the England game together. Like, I had a few of my mates around, a few of my brother's mates around. It was like a load of us around here yesterday, and we was really, really looking forward to the game. And my God, it didn't disappoint, did it?
Well, it did disappoint for about 93 of the minutes, I thought. Let's talk about it, because I must say, all right, I'm going to say it. I think this is the worst we have played in a tournament that I've seen in my era of football. I've got to say that now. And I wasn't really around to see much before 96, Euro 96, 94. We weren't there, were we? So I weren't there under the Graham Taylor days, which I imagine were pretty poor. But I was there in the McLaren days, the Capello days, the Hodgson days. I think this has been absolute dire. And I have to say, when you look at it, we have some of the most talented players that I've seen in a long, long time going forward, Lee. And this manager can't get the best out of them. So from the off, I want to ask you, do you look at the players? Do you look at the manager? Or do you look at both? Because I look more at the manager, but I can also point to some of the players and think they're not quite cutting the mustard. But you can't tell me that the players just were overrated by winning Champions Leagues and trebles, and Declan Rice and Saka ain't really that good. They're just overhyped by Arsenal, and Foden ain't really that good, but it's all De Bruyne. Like, this is a manager thing for me. I don't think he's got the balance right. I don't think he's got any of the team selection right. I think the formation is all over the place. I think the players are out of position. I think there's pretty much everything that could go wrong so far. Gareth Southgate has done it, even from picking Luke Shaw, who ain't fit enough to kick a ball, and having Ivan Toney on the sideline with 30 seconds left to go. There is nothing so far I'm looking at thinking, yeah, I understand that, Gareth. So
no, I'm with you on that. Like, I mean, the one thing that I will say that I think it's now come to a head. Like, who does he pick, Foden or Bellingham? I think that's been the problem. Then I really do, because we haven't got no one naturally on the left-hand side. We've got no balance on the left-hand side. It would probably been a little bit easier and a little bit better if Luke Shaw was fit or they had a left-sided player. But by playing Trippier there as well, the left side's completely down. I will say it looked a little bit better balanced when Saka went out there. And I thought for 1 minute in the extra time with the 3-5-2 sort of scenario, we looked really good until we scored and then went back to 8-1-1. You know what I mean? Like, it was really like that's how it was. But I think that's the problem now. I think Gareth has got to sit down and go, right, it's either Bellingham or Foden play that number 10 role. And that's how it is for me. And it's just, you can't try and fit players in and around it. It's not worked. It's not worked. And it's a shame that it's not worked, because you want to get all your best players in to a certain. But I do believe that has affected other things in our game, because I've not seen Harry Kane be as ineffective as I've seen in these games. I think he's a good footballer as well as a goal scorer. I've always said he's a better footballer than say someone like Haaland, because he's got things to his locker where he can drop deep and all that. Like, he's hardly touching the ball. He's hardly getting involved in it. He scored 2 goals, but other than that, he's not really contributed. in the whole play. Saka, I think's done okay in bits and pieces, but does look a bit jaded if I'll be a little bit tired. But I think that he starts off like a train, and then when we go into our shell a little bit, I honestly don't think Walker's helping his situation out one bit. Oh my God, how poor was he the other night? How poor was he? And I got a little theory that I think, believe it or not, the pressure of, say, someone like Trent behind him, the pressure of someone like Palmer just behind Saka and Foden is putting pressure on our players. And I think that even, Watkins and now Tony are putting a little bit of pressure under Harry Kane, where these players were, automatically guaranteed playing, all of a sudden not. Jude Bellingham, yes, I'm a big fan of his. I really, really, but he has been awful up to that, goal yesterday. It's incredible finish, incredible, but he hasn't done anything to contribute before that. And you can go through the whole team. We was watching the game yesterday. Stones, how many mistakes did he make yesterday? Before I've not seen it from him, Dan. Part of me says, well, you can't really blame the manager for that he's playing so. Why is he playing so badly? I think that the system may be doing that, because I think if you look at it, say Stones has got the ball, probably looking up to the left-hand side, and there's nothing on. So he has to come inside, and maybe then he checks, makes a mistake, and then, gets caught. But he's been really, really poor. Declan Rice, up until yesterday, hasn't been at his best, but I thought yesterday he was back to his best. I thought he was brilliant yesterday. Man of the match by a long way. Mainu played very, very well as well until he came. I thought he played very, really well until he came off. But give us a little bit more, but not the sort of shape and performance that we expected. Did it really improve with him being in there? And I thought he was one of our better players, Dan. No. So I am worried about us going forward and all that. But I have to say,
was it taking this long to make a sub as well, Lee? Like, that was a shambles.
Well, it's a shambles. Like we were saying yesterday, like mucking about. Well, he got them right, didn't he? Because he brought them on. Listen, I've always said Mikel is a very, very lucky manager, but my God, this Southgate is even luckier. You know what I mean? Like, he's just because you make those substitutions, and let's be really honest about it. The goal for Harry Kane, all three substitutions played a part in that goal. Now it was a good cross from Palmer, and then a miscue from Eze. And I'm not convinced that Tony was looking to actually like head that pass to. He was just putting it in an area, or I don't know if he was going to go or he's putting. It's just gone right to Harry Kane. You know what I mean? If he's meant to do that, I'll tip my hat to him. And all of a sudden you're thinking, well, the manager's thinking, well, I've done the business with the substitutions. But listen, he got away with it, Dan. He got away with it big time. But I will say this. I don't know about you, but we was going absolutely mad when that Bellingham. It was worth it for that Bellingham right at the last second to score. And once he scores, you knew England were going to win. You just knew it. I was just very, very surprised that England didn't go on and win it by 3 or 4, but they shut up shop again and they got the job done. And listen, I think England will be feared by everybody, because not only do we know that other teams will know that we can click if he gets this right, but with the luck we've got at the moment, wow, anything can happen now.
Yeah, big time, man. I mean, like, it is lucky. Bellingham, unbelievable goal. The only positive is Kane and Bellingham scored. That is the end of the positives. There is nothing to talk about. It didn't look good. It didn't look, there was no cohesion. There's no telepathy. There's no understanding. He's playing Trippier at left back, which is a disaster. He's got no left foot, can't go on the overlap, and gives us no width whatsoever. Can put a good cross in. That is literally the only thing he can do with his right foot, but he's cutting inside to put that cross in. That gives us no balance on the left-hand side with Foden, who, let's be real, has been pretty poor this tournament. Another one who's given us absolutely nothing. It needs to be Gordon or Palmer out there for me now. We can't be keeping Foden out there on the left. It just ain't working at all. And I understand that Man City plays well there, but he has got top talent around him, like the KDBs and the Haalands of this world, that allow him to be brought into play. And at the moment, our players ain't doing that. And I think the system is just not working. Trent Alexander-Arnold not being in this team, I think Gary Neville said it was illegal and criminal. He's right. It is. We've got one of the best, most generational talents that's just sitting on the bench because he don't like playing him at right back. Now, last night, I saw Kyle Walker get completely done all game, and no one's mentioned it. If that was Trent, he would have got absolute pelters.
Yeah, great point.
Absolute pelters. John Stones, not sitting like that, switching off. At one stage, mate, he passed the ball. Someone passed the ball to him. If it was Gearhey, he wasn't even looking, and it went to the striker and nearly lobbed Pickford.
Yes,
It was that bad, mate. It was that bad. That's how bad. Now, people will say, well, that's not Southgate, and he's right. But Southgate at the end has got to get that installed into the side that we've got to be focused 100%. We've got to be able to get this system right because it ain't right. Now, I think the best couple of players that I've seen in this England side, first of all, Mark Gearhey. I've been really impressed with him.
Yeah.
I think he's been an absolutely... I think he's been a surprise, if I'm honest, because I knew he was good, but I didn't quite know that he'd step up to this level. I ain't seen no nerves. Can sort of say that yesterday the goal might have had some involvement in it, but I don't think Stones did anything to help him whatsoever at all. I think he's been good. And I must say, Palmer has looked pretty good when he's come on and he's been involved in the games. And I think we need to see more of him. Bellingham, I thought he had a really good half hour in the first game. Haven't seen him since. Saka and Rice, I think they've been inconsistent, if I'm honest with you. But yesterday I thought Rice was good. Saka as well, people forget, like, Saka was asked to play right back, right wing back and left back so far this tournament, but he's not been given any kind of praise for that. He's been just given criticism for that. His pass rate is one of the best out of all the players. His interceptions are good. And there was another stat that was really good that was one of the best in the team. So although he hasn't been outstanding, the stats are still there to prove that he's not one you should be picking on. But it seems, and I did a show on this, that Rice and Saka are the two that are just getting absolute pelters. Scholes has been giving it to Rice. We've had a lot of people say, drop Saka, get him out the side. Well, no one said play Palmer and Saka. It's just play one or the other. So I don't really know why them two are getting the pelters. But in terms of the actual manager, I think the guy's a clown, Lee. I honestly don't understand any of the style of play. I haven't seen one. I haven't got any understanding of what he's trying to do when we're 1-0 down. And as soon as Kane scores, what did he do?
Yeah.
Consner, on you come. Gallagher, on you come. Shore it up. And we didn't see anything for the rest of the game. So I'm sick and tired of it. I want him gone. I don't care that we went through last night. I still want him gone. Now, I know you're not going to sack him in this tournament. He probably will leave afterwards. But I'm actually looking forward to see what we would have with a different manager, because people say to me, play a different team, you'll see a different way of playing. I disagree with that, because we've seen Mainu, we've seen Gallagher, we've seen Rice, we've seen Bellingham, we've seen Trent in midfield. The midfield don't look any different with any of the players I've just mentioned. That is the manager, right? If you was to pick a different manager, whether it be Klopp or Wenger, as people are saying, laughing, or whether it be Potter, who's available at the moment, I would love to see what they would do with this side. I don't think they'd be playing Trippier at left back. I don't think they'd be forcing Bellingham and Foden into the side in different positions. I don't think that Trent would be out of the side. I think we'd see a lot more understanding and cohesion, because Trent Alexander-Arnold is a player that at right back has some frailties, but you say to that player, don't worry about the defending. We know you're not the best at it, but we will have you for that. We've got Rice, we've got Stones, we've got Gearhey. They'll have that. You just do your thing, mate, because delivery's on point, attack-minded player, fantastic on the ball, beautiful to watch on the ball. And unfortunately, we're not getting to see him. Don't know why. Gordon, he's been one of the best left wingers in the Premier League, I think, this summer. Not seen him. Palmer, we've seen him in little bits and pieces. Need to see more of him. Ivan Toney, we've finally seen him. And I have to say, him and Eze, I thought made a bit of a difference when they come on late. I think they really did. Harry Kane, what's happened to him? You know, he's not showing leadership qualities at the moment as a captain. He's not showing his top class at the moment. He might have scored 2 goals, but let's be real, they were both tap-ins, weren't they? It was hard to miss, really. So he needs to step up his game. But the manager, Lee, I don't think has any chance of getting England anywhere. And I actually believe we will lose to Switzerland in the next game. I think we will.
Yeah, look, listen, it's going to be a tougher game, and they're going to show those defensive qualities that the other teams have played, but they just have a little bit more going forward, which is a bit of a worry. But, you know, I can't disagree with anything you said there, really. You know, just great point about the midfield. Doesn't matter who they played in there, it still looked not right. And the thing with Trent, you know, it's like Trent Alexander. Realistically, you play him in one position and one position only, right back. Now, if you think Walker's the better right back, then I ain't got an argument with that. I think Walker's been good at. I will give Gareth Southgate a little bit of praises. If he thinks that Walker's the better right back, he has stuck with that. You know what I mean? Like he believes Saka is the best wide right player. He's stuck with that. You know what I mean? And he's stuck with Kane. So he's backing these players. He is backing them because you know there has been calls for to get Palmer in the team. By the way, only for Saka being dropped, which is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like Saka was one of our better players yesterday. Again, like but no one's talking about. And it really annoys me. Palmer's got 20 goals. He's done this and he's done that. Well, okay. Ollie Watkins then? What about him? No one's pushing for Ollie Watkins to play in the team and drop Kane. No one's pushing for Foden to be out the side. No coincidence when Foden went off yesterday, England scored. And then they scored again, you know. And listen, I'm not having a go at Foden when I say I'm a big fan of his, but he's not playing in the position he should be playing for England. I think if you put a poll out, what would be your midfield? My midfield would be Bellingham, Rice, Foden. That would be my midfield, like, you know.
Same here.
I think most people would go down that route, Dan, but he just doesn't. It's like he's doing it out of spite. I'm not going to do that. Then you can play Palmer on the left, because when I've watched him at Chelsea, he's never been playing just wide right, Palmer. He's always sort of been like, he's another one that can play in all three positions. You know, and but he come on yesterday. He didn't blow the game wide open, did he? He done all right, you know what I mean? Like, but you know, there's this. Oh, he's got to play in place of Saka. Well, he hasn't really done no different, like, you know. And the thing with Declan Rice in there as well, you know, why hasn't he played well? Well, every game he's getting a different partner in there now, like, you know. If you look at it, like 1 minute it's Trent, next minute it's Gallagher, and then it's Maino. You know, who's it going to be next? And he just a little bit of stubbornness from him all the time, like. And if you're going to now bring in Luke Shaw right at these final knockings of the competition when it gets, that's a massive gamble. That, by the way, massive. You know, so I honestly think that England will beat Switzerland. I really do. I'm backing England to get to the final. I think that they will, and that's not me being because of being patriotic. I actually watch the games with a little bit of not like I do Arsenal, because you know it's all about Arsenal winning. I you know, I haven't got that same.
Feel more relaxed watching it.
Yeah, it's a little bit more relaxed. I haven't got the same sort of pressure that when I'm watching the Arsenal, but I just feel that more will come from England, and I just also feel that sometimes, you know, momentum and luck is in there. I actually thought we was going to go out yesterday. I thought that was it. I thought that's it. And if we'd have gone out yesterday, that would have been such a whimper for the whole country and all that. Like, you know, one of the big seeds going out, like, you know, like Italy did the other day. Italy were very, very poor on the weekend as well, like, you know. So, but there we are. We get we've got a lifeline down there. And the thing is, as poor as Bellingham and poor as Kane have been, they have got that in their locker, you know.
What's that, Joe? Yeah,
to get out of jail, and that's exactly what they did. Big problem now for Gareth Southgate is that our best player in the tournament so far now is suspended. You can go, I don't know who's going to come in there. Is it going to be, you know, are we going to see Lewis Dunk there? Like, you know what I mean? And so it'd be really interesting.
I imagine it'll be Konza who come.
Do you reckon it will be Konza?
I reckon so. He has been playing at right back for Villa though most of the season, but
he's played right back, left back. You know, so massive call that's going to be for the manager. And I make you right that, like, you know, Trippier was only got left out because he got injured. So, you know, and I as much as we don't agree with it, and, you know, Saka I think is better on the right. It just gave us that little bit of balance to the team yesterday, like when he did go on there, like, you know.
Yeah, I actually didn't think it was a crazy thing to go at left back. I know this is mad because people think, oh, Saka has to be up top, and I do prefer him on the right wing. But if he had to do a job at left back, I'd rather him play there than Trippier. I'd rather him play there than all the other options, if I'm honest with you. And it's a madness that Gareth Southgate didn't bring another left back that can actually play left back.
What?
It's a madness, Lee. You know, it's a madness.
It is a madness. And another thing is if you haven't got a left-sided player, then we'll play Saka out wide left, because that gives you a little bit more balance over it. You know, like
play Palmer and Saka.
Palmer, you know, play Palmer on the right, Saka on the left, just so you've got that little bit of balance, you know, because Saka will stay out wide, he will take his player on. And then if he does take him on, he can get through on the outside. But the fact of the matter is, what was happening loads of times yesterday, we was watching it with so much frustration, is that Foden comes right in, giving there a lot of space for Trippier out there, but then he has to cut inside on his right foot, and then 10 times out of 10 he played it back into the midfield, where at least when Saka got it, he tried to go out on the left hand side, whipped in a couple of half decent crosses. But yeah, I have to say that, like, you know, that Tony made a big difference as well. He come on, he showed movement, pace, a little bit more mobility than Kane. I don't know what is the matter with Kane, like, you know what I mean? Like, when you turn around and go, oh, Kane's lost it. Is he injured or what? Because he's not, you know, he's not.
Look fit. He don't look fit, does he?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't look fit. When you see someone like Tony coming on and doing what he's doing, you realise, well, that's what Harry Kane did, but with goals. So I don't know what's the matter with Kane. He might be carrying a little injury. Maybe even Saka is carrying a slight little niggle as well. I don't really know, because they don't seem to be as dynamic as they normally are. And that's the problem. So listen, he's got 6 days now, Dan, to sort this out. 6 days to sit there. You know, I'd imagine that when they got up for breakfast this morning, the old management team had said, well, we're lucky to be here. And had a little laugh about it, if I'll be honest, and then get down to the serious thing. Yeah, we're lucky to be here. Let's make sure we stay here now, like, you know what I mean? Because we've had a little bit of luck. What can we do that's going to make sure we stay here? I think with the way we are, probably like 3 at the back, 5 in midfield, Bellingham and Kane up top, like, you know what I mean? So like something like that, or Foden and Kane, one of them coming off of him. I don't know who it'll be. It just seems to be a little bit better for me. But if you're going to go for that, the system that he's going to go, it's going to be a little bit difficult now with Gay not playing, so they may have to still go with a back 4. Then if it's really me now, I'm taking Foden out, I'm bringing Palmer in, but I'm going to put Saka over to the left and Palmer to the right. And they can swap if they want, you know what I mean? Like, just to give us that little bit of balance, like, you know. And as I say, nothing against Foden. I just think it's who you want. It's who you prefer out of Bellingham and Foden in there. And we've had this problem before with the Gerrard Lampard situation, like, you know what I mean? And you have to go with one or the other. And I do think now it's got to make some brave decisions. But listening to him on the radio, Dan, today, and the pundits, they don't believe that he's going to do that. He's going to stick to his guns. And, you know, if that's going to be the case, then, you know, it's not going to be a pretty watch against Switzerland.
It isn't, and you just want to see him go for it. You just want to see him go for it, and I've never seen him go for it before, you know. And you know, Pickford and Konza and Stones are probably going to be the oddest 3, but I would just go with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Saka as your fullbacks, and then go with Bellingham, Rice, and Foden, and then have Palmer right, Gordon left, and Kane up top, and just go for it. And you can switch it around a bit then. If you think, oh, okay, that's a little bit too gone for it, might be a little bit, you can shore it up a bit then. But he wants to shore it up all the time and then just bit by bit put an attacker on. I just think, what is happening here? Like, we should be the other way around, Lee. With the attack-minded players we got, it should be right. Now you bring on your Gallaghers. Now you bring on if you want to bring on bloody, what's his name you said earlier, Lewis Dunk. Now you want to shore it up that way. That's the way to do it, surely. But he wants to start that way. And just, it's very, very odd. And, you know, people might think that's a madness to go that attack-minded. But I would rather go for it and try and win 4-3 than try and win 1-0 and sit back and hold. Honestly, I would. And we've got the players to do that now. We really have. You know, we might not have over the years, you know. And I think we've got such good players at even not even getting minutes now. You know, like Gordon's hardly kicked a ball. Palmer's not kicked enough ball. Watkins has hardly done it. Tony's come on for a few seconds and looked good, but ain't done enough yet to get into it. Kobe Mine, who's only just coming into the mix and looks very good and comfortable on the ball. So they've got a lot of options there, Lee, that still haven't been used. So let's see what happens. I will mention quickly, though, that Spain and Germany, for me,
Cool.
Lee, I don't know about you, they are looking very, very good. And they have got each other, mate. And I must say, yesterday I watched them yesterday, and I thought that Lamine Yamal looked absolutely quality. 16 years old,
Yeah.
Barcelona and Spain, and he looks absolutely phenomenal. And I must mention Williams as well, because Arsenal have been linked with him. That was a very well taken goal. And I think Spain are looking very goodly.
Do you know what? Surprise package for me. I didn't think Spain were going to be anything to do with it, really. Like, I felt that they may just lack a bit of firepower up front. I still think that may come down to bite them in a little bit. But if I'll be really honest, they've been the best team in it. Been by far the best team in it. Looked really, really good. They've looked sharp. They went a goal down yesterday. Didn't panic. Kept doing what they know that they can do. Believed in what they were doing. Believed in their system. Believed in their formation. Believed in their players. Got in front, and then from then on, once they got in front, there was only one winner. And I'll tell you what, George, you've given them a lot of credit. They really went for it. It was a very, very open game yesterday. But I think the worrying thing for everybody else, as far as it comes with Spain, is that Spain, if you want to play an open and attacking game, they've got the players that can do that. If you want to sit back and play in blocks, they've got someone that can unpick you. So I'm very, very impressed with them. I think they've just slightly been the better team than Germany. I thought Germany, for as well as they played against Denmark, I feel that VAR was, I'm going to say questionable. Again, it's always the dodgy, questionable decisions when it's with the English referees. You know what I mean? Like,
it was Oliver and Atwell, wasn't it?
Yeah. Listen, the offside's offside. We've all had them in the Premier League, and we've had them go for us, and we've had them against us. I just think that you cannot give that offside. It's just so close. It's ridiculous. Like, you know what I mean? It's not offside. And then I have to say the penalty decision. And what annoys me about VAR is that they show it in slow motion then. You know, and it looks 10 times worse in slow motion. But in normal speed, how can he get his hand out of the way of that? Like, you know, it's just ridiculous, you know. But Kai Havertz, good penalty. I will say that I've watched Germany. I haven't watched Germany. I've just watched Kai Havertz, just watching what he's doing really more than anything. Like, he was absolutely superb on Friday night. There was some of his play was brilliant. That touch to get him through on the one-on-one, it's ridiculously good. If anybody else, if Messi done that, Ronaldo done that, they'd be showing it like time and time again. But misses too many chances. And that's the problem. He's got to be more clinical, because I tell you what, there was a chance after that. I think it was Haaland, for, you know, Man United played a good chance and could have equalised, and that game could have changed. But you know, Kai Havertz makes them tick in some of the touches that he does, and brings players in and all that. Like, if he was a lethal finisher, well, and that chance he created, and then the thing, I've seen him do that 5-6 times for Arsenal and miss every time. I have, honestly, like, you know what I mean? But I thought he was absolutely superb. And that game next Friday is the game of the tournament. The game of the tournament, because I think that Germany and Spain have been far better than anybody else. Now, I'm going to say this now. If one of them two teams was on the other side of the draw, you know, as England and all that, England ain't getting to the final. Whoever they would have gone through.
I cannot believe that we have got them all on the other side of the group. That is crazy.
Incredible. It's incredible. And what the worry is for the likes of Germany and Spain and all that is, like, say, whoever wins that game is going to take a lot out of you. And then you're probably going to be taking on France in the semi-final. Like, do you know what I mean?
Portugal. Yeah.
It's, you know, crazy, like, by the time you get to the final, they're going to be like maybe physically done. Where on the other side of the group, you know, it's a little bit easier. But I will say this: Spain yesterday I don't think that took a lot out of them, that game, for Spain. I thought they were outstanding. So for me at the moment, if you was to say who's the favourite forgetting what side of the draw it's on and all that, like I've been more impressed with Spain than anybody else.
Fair play, man. I'll kind of agree with you. Let's do before we move to Arsenal, the quick little bracket view. I've got it in front of me here. Portugal or Slovenia, Lee? Who'd you fancy?
Portugal.
France or Belgium?
France, but I tell you what, they've been the most, along with England,
I agree.
France and Belgium have been the most disappointing teams in it.
Yeah. Romania, Netherlands?
Do you know what? I want Holland to go through just for their fans. Sorry, just for their fans.
I think they will as well. Austria, Turkey. That's going to be close, that.
Yeah. A lot of people writing off Turkey. A lot of people writing them off. And Austria have been very, very impressive. So
they have. I think Austria have been really good.
But knockout stages, things change now, Dan. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I'm going to go Turkey.
All right, cool. So you've got Netherlands or Turkey. Who do you think will win out of that?
Netherlands.
Okay. England, Switzerland. Do you think England?
Yep.
England, Netherlands. You think England?
Yep.
So England are in the final. The other side, you've got Spain or Germany. You've said Spain.
I on form, I would say Spain, but I'm gonna stick with the home nation with Germany.
Okay. Portugal, France.
France.
Okay. And then Germany or France?
Germany.
So you think it'll be England, Germany final?
Yeah.
Wow. That could be pretty spectacular if that comes in. Let me tell you that.
What are you going for? What you think?
I don't think England will get to the final. I think we'll lose to Switzerland. I just think we are terrible. And unless things change dramatically, we should go through, but I just don't think we're playing well enough. I think that was too squeaky bum time against Slovakia. I agree with you on the Netherlands, though. I think it will be the Netherlands who go through out of that four: Romania, Netherlands, Austria, Turkey. So I'll go Switzerland, Netherlands, and I will go with Netherlands in the final. And I will go with Spain over Germany. And I will go with Portugal over France. But I think it will be Spain in the final. I think Spain will beat Portugal to get to the final. And then it will be Spain versus Netherlands. A little bit like it was a few years back, I suppose. And I think Spain will win it. That's what I think. I think Spain will win it. I've looked at them and I think even yesterday with Georgia, who I thought were really impressive, by the way, and deserve a mention. I just thought they had way too much going forward. I've been so impressed with them, mate. I really have. Germany, and I tell you what, then whoever wins out of that one will win the whole thing. Spain, Germany.
It's going to be a massive game. That is, you know what I mean. Like, without a doubt, the two best teams in it on current form. Without a doubt, so it'd be it's not fair that them two teams are playing each other now. Really, I know it's like a little bit unfair because both teams have won their group, and they've ended up playing that. So if you're a team that's playing and coming second or third, you could be playing like Holland, for instance, playing like they come third in their group, and they're realistically like you know what I mean. Romania or Austria to get to the final. That's who they're looking at getting. Like, you know what I mean? Come on. You know, they're going to have a look at this how this draw works because I just don't think it's worked out I don't think it's worked out right. Do you?
I don't think it has really.
Not winning it.
I think you're right. I think Spain, Germany, it could be an unbelievable final, let alone that's quarter final. So yeah, I honestly believe it's a top game, and whoever wins that, I think should go on and win. Whoever gets to the final out of that half of the group deserves to win the whole competition. With all that in there, Portugal, France. But do you know what I mean? If England win this competition by beating Slovakia, Switzerland, and Holland, that's a bit harsh, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly right. Exactly right. That's where this is where it's not right. It's not panned out right. Like someone said the other day, "Oh, well, that's because France aren't there." But France ain't that great anyway, and they come second. But I don't know. I just don't think it's worked out right. But as I say, Friday, Spain or Germany are going to go out, and realistically, they've been far better than a team like England or Holland, and both like England and Holland probably going to go further, which just doesn't seem right. But this is the thing when people say, "Oh, it makes you." This is a cup competition. You need a little bit of luck. not just on the field, off the field as well, with the draw, and sometimes you need that little bit of luck, and England have had that in abundance over the last few years, in abundance.
Yeah, absolute facts, man. Let's move to Arsenal, shall we? Not much is happening, if I'm honest, but we're in July, Lee, which means that things will start to move forward tickety-boo as the weeks go past. We've only got a couple of weeks left until the Euros ends anyway. I think it ends on the 14th of July.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks today, I think it is. So it's going to be a really interesting transfer window as far as Arsenal are concerned. Edu and Arteta behind the scenes, I imagine, are starting to look at who they can potentially get. There's a report today suggesting, this has come from Football London, that the green light for £175 million transfers Arsenal are going to have to spend. So we're going to have just under 200 million again, it seems, Lee. The names on that list are Joshua Kimmich, Calafiori, Zubamendi, Onana and Bakayoko, and they're the players that have been linked with Arsenal in the coming days. So I thought we might as well go through some of those options and see what your thoughts are there. So, I mean, that is definitely a good window if that was to all happen. I don't think it's the outstanding window we want because there's still no centre forward there that we look at and think, wow. But certainly all the other positions are needed. I think with those 5 signings, we've covered cover for Saka, our midfield 6 and 8, a defender and a defensive midfielder. But we certainly need, in my opinion anyway, a centre forward to add to that or some form of creative spark. So let's talk about Joshua Kimmich, because Joshua Kimmich is actually one that was mentioned and has been mentioned for a couple of weeks now. I wanted to get your opinions on this one because he's 29 years old. He's won everything in the game and he's an experienced head, can play at fullback and in midfield, more of a defensive minded, but can get up there and play a more box to box role. He's obviously scored a goal against Arsenal, believe it or not, funnily enough, in the away leg at Bayern Munich. He's played for Germany in most of the minutes of the Euros so far and has been really important as a player. If Bayern Munich are to get rid of him for 50, 60 million as being reported, would you be interested in Arsenal going for this sort of player, Lee?
Yeah, I've been very impressed with him in the tournament. Very impressed. And, I think we was linked with him in January as well, like, you know what I mean? But nothing really come of it. Obviously, it weren't going to with Munich. But I think that Munich have got a decision to make. 29 years of age, do they cash in on him or don't they? That's the question. You know what I mean? It would be an unusual signing for Arsenal with the age wise looking at it, really, like. But I do think that what I've seen him in, been very, very impressive. He can play in a couple of positions as well, can't he? Right back or midfield. But looks fit, looks sharp. Got a good range shot on him, and I think it's been very, very impressive for Germany in this tournament. Listen, it's not my money, so if Arsenal decides to spend 50 million on him, then fair enough. If you want me, put me neck on the chopping block, I'm probably going to say it probably won't happen.
Yeah, I'm not so sure where he wants to go. I don't think people are looking or taking into consideration Joshua Kimmich's understanding. He might want to stay at Bayern Munich. He might want to stay in Germany. He might want to go to a Real Madrid or a Barcelona or something over Arsenal. I've no idea. But Manchester City were looking at him as well as the kind of Gundogan replacement because they've not really replaced him. And it sounds weird saying this because Manchester City are winning everything still, but they haven't replaced Gundogan. And he was so good for them, pivotal for them. And I think it would replace him. If I'm honest, I think it would be a very good signing for Manchester City. And obviously he can play fullback too. And Kyle Walker is getting caught out, I would say. A lot of Manchester City fans that I know and speak to, they weren't impressed with Kyle Walker's season. They said he got caught out a lot. So I wonder if this would be the perfect replacement for both Gundogan and Walker there in Kimmich. And he's only 29. We make out that that's an old age in football. That's a very good age. You know what I mean? That's a very good age to buy somebody and bring somebody in. So I wouldn't be against this one at all. And I think it could be a good signing. But let's stay with midfield because the two other midfielders that we're being linked with are Zubamendi and Amadou Onana. Let's talk about Zubamendi first because we were actually linked with his colleague, Minero, over at Real Sociedad. Two players that are a little bit different profile, but I think this midfield surgery is going to be needed, Lee. Now, Zubamendi is very much a deep-lying player. He's a number 6, a little bit like a Jorginho type, I suppose. The attributes are very similar. Sits and holds. He's more of a deep lying player, sprays the ball well. He's got good passing range. But everything tells me that he doesn't really want to leave Spain. So I'm not too sure about this one. There is a release clause around about £50 million. Have you seen much of him, and would he excite you, Lee?
I've not seen much of him, but he's the sort of player that Arsenal will probably be looking at profile wise if we're going to be going for somebody like that. Now we've been linked with him again. We was linked again. Another one of these players was linked with in January, but like it's a simple thing. Is you've got release clause. Like if we activate the release clause, are you happy to come to England? He either says yes or he says no. If he says no, then you go right. Okay, thank you very much. And that's what the sort of rumour has been coming out that he preferred to stay in Spain. So again, I think it's but a difficult one this because we have been linked with him for a little while now, So should have happened by now, though. If it was, don't you think? Dan? My thing about it. This is one of the deals that Arsenal could have got done if it was going to happen. It was going to happen. And Arna is the same. I think Everton need to be selling. Listen, at the end of the day, Newcastle, it's genuine all this thing about players having to sell, because they've sold that Anderson, who's one of the potentially top midfield players in the country. You remember, there's a little bit of an argument between England and Scotland where he was going. Do you remember he went into the Scotland squad? And then he pulled out because England were interested. So this is a very, very talented young player. And Newcastle sold him. So it's going to be the case where Everton are probably going to have to sell. So I've got a little sneaky feeling if they're going to go for someone, it's going to be Alana. That's my gut feeling because he's Premiership proven, 23, 24. And I think that he would be up for the move to Arsenal.
Would you be happy with that, Lee? Would you be happy with that?
I think there's more potential than that. I was speaking to a couple of Everton players, Everton supporters. They think that he's a decent player. Probably if he played for Arsenal, we'd get a little bit more freedom in there. I don't know about you. I've watched him a couple of times with Belgium, and I know that probably I shouldn't be going on Belgian performances because they've been shocking. He hasn't really sort of said, "Oh yeah, no. He's one for me." Now, I will say this because me and my nephew Max and my brother Dan were talking about this yesterday. If you didn't know Premier League football and you just come and watch the Euros, you'd be going, "I tell you what, I'll take that Højbjerg of Denmark." Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're watching him yesterday. Like he's saying, "Why?" No, sorry, against Germany. He's had a good tournament then. And I think so when you look at all this, just look at it on international football, you'd actually be thinking like, "Yeah, I'll take him." But we know realistically he's not very good.
We've done that before, haven't we? Do you remember James Rodriguez at Colombia? James Rodriguez went to Real Madrid, and he wasn't good enough. So, I've got to be careful. Look, I like Onana. I don't think he's outstanding. I don't look at him and think, wow, it's Premier League, one of the best. No, I wouldn't, because I think we can do better than him. I don't think he is any better than Tom. I'd rather keep Thomas Partey than Onana. I'll tell you that. He's nowhere near the level of Thomas Partey. Nowhere near. And I understand people will say he's fitter, but I don't think there's any difference between Onana and Jorginho or Partey. And I think we've been spending 50 million on another Jorginho or Partey. So I wouldn't be excited by that. I wouldn't be gutted by it. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, because he's got potential to be better than Jorginho and Partey potentially at 23, right? But I don't think he's going to be. It's hard for me because there's only a couple that I would really like that would make me go, wow. And I think we need a wow player in there. I think we need another Declan Rice signing. I don't think we need Declan Rice was the one. We ain't going to get another one like that. I think we need to try and go all out to get a Bruno Guimaraes. I think we need to try and go all out to get Joshua Kimmich, who'd be the one that I'd be most interested in now, or De Jong from Barcelona. They're the ones I want to be going and getting. Somebody like that you go, boom, no time needed, straight in you go, like Declan Rice, alongside him, and you go, boom. And you can play any of those players, you can put in the 6 or the 8 as well. That's what I like. They're a 6 or an 8. The other one that I would like is Yusuf Fofana, because he is definitely an 8, and he's one that 100% is ready to come in now. 24 years old, France international, box-to-box midfielder. I'd rather have Fofana than Onana. I'd rather have De Jong or Bruno or Kimmich than Onana. But you're right, Onana and Zubimendi are probably the ones that are easier to do because one's got a release clause, the other one is club needs money. You know, Everton need money, and they might get money. Everton might get Calvert-Lewin or Branthwaite that's sold, but it would be easy to do. Let's move on to Bakayoko because actually we know a little bit about Bakayoko as a winger. He was at PSV. We played him in the Europa League. When we went to their place and we played a little bit of a mixed team, he was by far the best player.
Yeah.
He was a phenomenal right winger. And I looked at it and I thought, yeah, this kid looks very, very good. The problem I'm hearing is his end. He wants first team football. And I just don't think we're going to be able to guarantee that.
No.
So let me put this to you, Lee. Is this the hardest position for our? Is not just his position, actually. I'll ask you in a number of positions. Is it the hardest thing to do to try and buy a goalkeeper that's going to sit on the bench or a winger that's not going to get ahead of Saka? Or maybe a midfielder that, you know, when everyone's fit, isn't going to get ahead of Rice and Partey? Are Arsenal in that kind of mould at the moment where we're trying to bring players in that might not play? And that's quite hardly. It's very hard to tempt them.
100%. And Edu said that. He said that, you know, it was easy to recruit 3 or 4 years ago because you're bringing in players that, you know, you're going to say, look, you come to the Arsenal, big, massive club, you're going to be playing. You know, we got those players over the line. Now the players coming now are going to have to be one better than the players that we got now, or on the same par as them that are going to have to settle for being a squad player. Now, if you look at any of the players on the wide right that we've been mentioned, and we've been mentioned with a few of them, all internationals, they're not going to come along and say, "Oh, yeah, I'll play second fiddle to Saka," and the same in the centre forward role. This is why Spurs always had a problem getting somebody to back up Harry Kane because they had the same problem. Like, you know, you're asking a £60 million player, you know, yeah, come and play for us, but you'll be, you know, you're not going to play every week because of Harry Kane. So that's where it's going to be difficult for Arsenal. It still is. You know, like if I'll be really honest at this moment in time, we haven't got a goalkeeper. Like Raya's not an Arsenal. I don't think Raya is actually on the list of the Euros as one of our players now. I think he's a Brentford player. So I think that as from now, you know, then the contract, that loan period is expired. So he's actually now representing Brentford as a Spain player. So we haven't got a goalkeeper there. So I do think we'll get that one sorted though. But then you're then saying, right, okay, you're going to bring in a number two, which, you know, is hard when you potentially you've got a better number two than what that's about at the moment. Who's better than Ramsdale in that position? So that's a difficult one.
What would you rather do then, Oli? Would you rather get another number two, or would you rather let Raya go back to Brentford and go and get a proper number one? Because if I said to you, Diogo Costa for £63 million release clause, Porto's goalkeeper, is available and wants to leave Porto, I'm taking him over spending £30 million on Raya and then flogging Ramsdale for £30 million. Because for me, I'd rather get Ramsdale gone for £30 million if he don't want to be here. Go and put that 30 million with another 30 towards Diogo Costa. Get a proper Alisson or Edison style level goalkeeper in goal, and then you go and buy a backup goalkeeper who's in their late 30s and just bring him in.
I'm with you on that. I don't think Raya's done enough to justify it to say, right, you're definitely the guy. And I don't mean that horribly, you know, because I had this situation with David Seaman, but after 6 weeks, I said David Seaman's the guy. I don't think we've seen that with Raya. There's still a few doubts in my mind about him, like, you know. Even in the game that he played for Spain, you know what I mean? Like, he just kicks it straight at their player, you know. But again, like, Raya's one of those lucky boys, it bounces straight into his hands again, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, he's got the luck on his side. So that'd be an interesting one to do there. As you say, I think that the 3 or 4 players that we're going to do, I'm not saying they're going to take a lot of convincing to say come and play for Arsenal. I think it's to come down and say that you're not maybe like you you're not going to get as much game time as perhaps you want to, like, you know. And that's the thing there, like, you know, as John says here, you know, Raya won the Golden Glove. He did win the Golden Glove, like, you know what I mean? But, you know, I think that the defence had a lot to do with that as well.
Yeah, I agree. I was just going to ask that. That's why I put the comment up, because for me, you don't get a Golden Glove without Gabriel and Saliba and White. That's for sure. And I don't think without David Raya, we don't make the mistakes he's made. You know, I've seen him get lobbed about 3 times already. I think he's made I think Darren Ramsdale's probably made the same amount of mistakes as David Raya has, and David Raya's been with us for 1 year. Ramsdale's been with us for 3. So
Yeah.
I think you put it like that, both of them might need to be upgraded. That's what I think. If you want to go and guarantee that, you need. I'll tell you what. I'll squash it like this. How many Premier League winning teams had a worse goalkeeper than David Raya? You won't find one.
Good point. Listen, if you want to say to me, David Raya is a good goalkeeper, I'm going to go, yes, he is.
I agree. He is a good goalkeeper. Yeah.
Did he help us win if we wouldn't winning goal last year, would we have won the league? I don't know. I don't think he contributed us to losing it, and I don't think he done enough to win it for us. You know, but I'm not convinced with his shot stopping. I think there's times when, you know, I think, well, he should have saved that. Maybe I'm being harsh. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's a good goalkeeper. I don't think he's top notch. Is he better than the City goalkeeper? No. Is he better than the Liverpool goalkeeper? No. Where is he in terms of best goalkeepers in the league? He's in the top 5 or 6, but he's guaranteed not number 1. Have we got the best centre half in the league? Yeah, I do think that we have now in Saliba. But you know what I mean? We've got like the best midfield player in the league. You know, in that role, you could argue Rodri. You could argue, but there's a thing there. There's a discussion. When you got Raya there, you having that argument that he's better than Ederson, or he's better than you're not, like, you know what I mean? So
no, I agree. I've got no doubt. I mean, John in the chat is a big fan of Raya and says he done well in the penalty shootout versus Porto. I agree with that, and he's top 4 in the Premier League. I don't think he's better than Emi Martinez. I don't think he's better than Alisson. I don't think he's better than Ederson. And then you can have debates then after that as to whether he's better than X, Y, Z. You know, you can have a debate.
A good shout that John says, like, you know, let's see what, you know, give him another, see what, you know, time it might.
Lee, he's going to get another. He's going to get time.
Yeah. So we will see. You know what I mean? Like, in the next year, like, you know, if he does sign, it will be for permanent. It won't be a loan. So then, if that's the case, that's Arteta, and that's backing him and saying that he is the number one. He believes in it. They've had him for a year now, and it's up to them to. They've got the choice to make that decision now. If they make that decision to sign him, then, you know, that's what they feel is the number one for him.
Yeah, facts. Let's talk a little bit about Calafiori before we go. Ricardo Calafiori, Bologna centre half, 22 years old. I like him from what I've seen, but I can't say I've seen a lot. From what I've seen and glimpses of it, he looks to be a very talented boy. Thiago Motta is the manager that has now gone to Juventus that people are talking about. His style of play being fantastic. Bologna having a very good season. I have to say, Lee, I think we need another centre half, and not a lot of people do. I don't think we've got any cover after Gabriel and Saliba, really. Kivior's there, but I don't think he's outstanding. I think he's all right. And Calafiori would be a fantastic option. Now, I understand that Ben White and Tomiyasu can play there, but I want a player that does play there, not can play there. And I think that we've got enough fullbacks. Some people don't think we have. Some people feel we need a left back as opposed to a centre back. I think Timber at left back and Tomiyasu and Kivior and Zinchenko are all there. And I think at right back, you've got Timber, Ben White and Tomiyasu that can all play there. But at right centre back, I have a bit of concern because I know Gabriel and Kivior can play at left centre back, but other than Saliba, I don't really think we have. And I think this kid would be perfect. I think they're saying he's probably going to be between 30 and 40 million pounds, which is the right sort of money I think we should be paying for a defender. I don't want to be paying 5 million for one because they're not going to be better than what you got. You got to go and get somebody in. And I think if we were to get a centre half, I think it would be complement and cover all positions needed. And I've been quite impressed with this lad, man. What do you make of it?
Yeah, look, listen, I've got a couple of Italian mates, and they're all saying the same. What you said, he's a top player. Again, the problem's going to be, you know what I mean? Like, well, where is he going to get games? And at the end of it, you could probably convince him that Saliba needs to have a rest of that. So you're taking Saliba out for 10 games, resting wise. 10 games is not enough then for him, like, you know. So, and Saliba, to be fair to him, since that back injury, is, you know, didn't miss a game last season, played in every game for Euros, but will need a rest at some stage. You know what I mean? He's not going to come back. You know, I think pre-season must start within a week's time now. Like, what are we on there? Is it the first today? It's first, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like, it'll be around about the 7th or 8th that they'll be coming back. So it's about a week. These guys haven't even had a break yet, you know. So you're going to be going into the American tour with no right-sided central defender. So it'd be interesting to see who actually plays there, first and foremost. And will they need someone just in case Saliba does need a bit of a break and all that, like, you know? Again, I think that probably, you know, to convince him to come, he's going to want to be like, not guarantee. No one can guarantee to be a start. But, you know, if you're fit and playing well, you're going to play. And this is the problem. I think with Kivior, is the same, because you look at Kivior, really, he's decent at a half decent Euros, but he's not going to get in front of those, you know, not in front of Gabby, is he?
No.
We was talking about Gay, you know, he's probably going to go Man United or he's going to go somewhere else. He ain't going to come to the Arsenal because he's not going to, you know, unless Arsenal say, all right, we're going to sell Gabriel and bring him in. Why would you want to do that? Why would you, when you've got one of the best? So, again, it's going to be a real difficult situation for Arsenal to address and get through, like, you know, because I think they're going to find these signings very, very difficult.
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be a real difficult one. If Saliba was to get an ACL, I don't have confidence of someone coming in at the moment and taking his position. And that's why I think we need one. People might say Ben White, but I saw him play there, weren't massively convinced. He's definitely not a centre-back. He's a right-back, Ben White, that's for sure. Tomiyasu, I've seen him play there a couple of times. Looks all right. Yuri and Timber, from what I hear, I think all three of them are fullbacks. If I'm honest, I wouldn't want, if I had a pick now, I want them all at fullback. I would never go, yeah, I'll put him at centre back or him at centre back and he can play fullback. No, they are all fullbacks that can play centre back. And I'm not sure I like that. So I think we need another centre half. And that's why I would be happy with Cagliari. I also think as well, Mark Guehi is a player who Arsenal are linked with and have been linked with. The problem you've got there, Lee, like you've just said, is you pay £60 million, which is what he's going to be, and he's going to probably play 20 games a season. That's a hell of a lot of money for someone who's going to play that least amount of games, but also he ain't going to be happy doing that, you know, when he can go to Man United and play every game, or even if he can go to Liverpool potentially and get into their side or somewhere like that. So I think that is fair. Just lastly, before we do close, striker, not one mentioned at the moment.
No.
But Gyökeres is the guy that I think, if you was to say, is the one that's heaviestly linked. I think Osimhen is the other option. Where are you at with these two? It's looked like it's going to be potentially one of them or none of them at the moment. Gyökeres or Osimhen, what are you saying?
I'm going to stick my neck out and say none of them. I don't think I don't think Arsenal will buy them. You know what I mean? I think that if they were, I don't see why that wouldn't have come in now. Why there's a delay? You know, you go and get your man. I don't know, unless there's lots of negotiating going on about the structure of the deal, which has been rumoured to be. I've got a feeling that Arsenal spend big money on somewhere else, some other areas, wide left, wide right, or central midfield. I think that's where they go, and I think that they may swerve this one. Do I think it's the right thing to do? No, I think that we, as I said earlier on about the Kai Havertz thing, as much as I love Kai Havertz and watching the weakness in his game is goals. When you're in those positions, you know, I look back at Manchester City last season, 0-0. We had a couple of half chances in that game. We didn't bury them. Those are the sort of games where that player earns his money. And, you know, if Arsenal do go for it, I'll be very, very surprised. But we'll have to wait and see on that way. Either one would be what we need, because it's completely different profile to all the strikers we've got at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I do think we will get one. I just don't know what one it's going to be. I don't know still, when I'll ask you this last before we close. Would you rather Arsenal spent 90 million on Osimhen or Victor Gyökeres? Or would you rather us spend 50 on Tony?
I like what I see of Tony yesterday.
Yeah, I do. And he's always been on the back of my mind, Lee. He's always been in the back of my mind, Tony. I've never let that one go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I've always had him there.
Yeah, I think that you can get for him for a good deal. I was very impressed with him last night. Very impressed.
Yeah, I was, man. Absolutely. Listen, we're going to wrap it up there, people. Absolute legends for being in the chat. Make sure you do me a favour and hit the like button and subscribe. We're on our way to 40k. If you can come follow myself at Football's 12th Man, do exactly the same thing. I'll be on tonight at 7 p.m. with a panel talking all things transfers. So please make sure you join me over there. We'll see you next time. Take it easy. We're out of here, and up the Arsenal.
Brilliant. Hour, breeze through it.
Nice one, mate. Yeah, that was a good one. That, yeah. Nice hour. It goes quick as well, mate.
Yeah, it does go quick, like, you know what I mean? I've got to jump off, Dan, because I've got to go to the toilet.
Yeah, that's
fucking
all right,
busting.